And joining us now is CBS News Justice Correspondent Scott MacFarlane with more on National Guard troops in D.C. Scott, thank you so much for being here.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Louisiana has sent about 135 military police soldiers to the nation's capital, and it's all in accordance with President Trump's crime emergency that was declared recently. To your purview, how do you see these National Guard troops helping law enforcement as a partnership, if you will?
Right now, they are what is characterized as visual deterrents. They are standing posts in some very public places outside Washington, D.C.'s major train station, near the national landmarks on the National Mall, the one you go visit on spring break. They're in tourist locations. They're not carrying firearms. They're not making arrests. And when we saw some of these troops close up this week in Washington, what they're showing are the zip ties they carry, a visual statement that their job is to help, when necessary, detain or hold somebody for police to come in and arrest. That could change over the coming days. The White House hasn't ruled out giving those National Guard troops arrest power, but the total number really is striking. There are approximately 2,000 National Guard troops now deployed in Washington, D.C. That includes not just the ones from Louisiana, but Mississippi, South Carolina, Ohio, Tennessee, West Virginia. It's possible more states join in and send their guard, too.
And since President Trump took office, his focus weighed heavily on crime, illegal immigration, many other major topics. In regard to states assisting in crime reduction with their National Guards in Washington, why is this happening now? And does this set a precedent by the Trump administration to essentially use military force to combat crime?
The president has these unique powers in Washington, D.C., because Washington, D.C. isn't a state, it isn't a city, it's a federal district. The president has the ability on his own to call up the National Guard of Washington, D.C. to be deployed on the streets. And he is accepting the help offered by not just Louisiana's governor, but these other Republican governors to send their troops to supplement the force. He can't just call the National Guard up into a different American city to do law enforcement. So it's not going to be something that spreads elsewhere. Why now? That's a bit of a political question. You know, the president has said this is a crime emergency. The mayor of Washington has said crime has been down here for at least a year, significantly, and that she's saying this is unnecessary, and some of her allies say this is political. But that really is the root of the argument. Should it be happening now? Does it have to happen now? And aren't there cities in some of these other states, Mississippi, for example, Ohio, for example, that may have crime rates that are at least comparable to Washington, D.C.?
And so kind of a similar margin there. Is it fair to say that these states, including Louisiana and some of the states you had mentioned, could use military force to reduce crime in their neck of the woods? Do you see that happening in the near future?
It would be up to the discretion of the local leaders and the governor, not the White House. But if the governor saw fit to deploy National Guard in some parish or some community in Louisiana, that's the governor's discretion. But I could say this. The Trump administration has not ruled out beefing up their federal agent deployments, agents they control unilaterally in other American cities. And they're naming cities that have Democratic leadership: New York, Chicago, Boston, Baltimore. This is going to supercharge an already inflamed political debate.
All right, CBS News Justice Correspondent Scott MacFarlane, we appreciate your time.